Turning our attention to KNT Netball now on the Friday Night Sports Show, and our KNT Netball correspondent Sally Bywater joins me on the line. She was out to a couple of big finals on the weekend and she's about to tell us all about them. Welcome, Sally. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. It's great to be back for another week.
It is. We're into finals time now. We were sort of into finals time last week, but now we've had a week of finals, and I must say the results were a little bit different than what I expected and what we sort of expected all year long. So let's start in the elimination final. Border Districts have crashed out in week one, which we certainly didn't see this coming. I think they were top three pretty much all year. They only just fell to fourth right at the end, and Kyby have pipped them in the elimination final at Keith 58-43.
Absolutely. We really expected Border Districts to play in the top three, to be in the qualifying final, at least in the last weeks. But here we are. They're out in the first final. But yeah, Kyby played a great game last week, and we've been quite lucky to get Kate Campion, who's a defender, come in later in the season to qualify. So she was real a force and really good out there last week. So it was a very evenly contested first quarter and great accuracy from both teams, but the drive through the midcourt was fantastic, and Kyber were up by 2 goals at quarter time, and then they just extended their margin each quarter. So Border Districts made some changes at 3-quarter time, but yeah, Kyber in the end settled and won that game convincingly.
Yeah, it was convincing in the end. 15 goals, and the question to me really is what happened to Border Districts? Because, like I said, they sat top three pretty much all year, slipped to fourth, and now have slipped out without even winning a final. So what was the story? Did they have injuries? Did they lose players towards the back half of the year? Or was it just a case of other teams improved as the year went on and Border Districts weren't able to keep up?
Yeah, they had the same team all year, so they haven't lost anyone. They've had that. Basically, they're starting 7 most of the season, so it was very disappointing for them, I would imagine. They just had it really low in that second quarter when they went down by 7, but yeah, Kybe is just one of those dark horses. We weren't quite sure what they were going to be when they made finals, and they only just made it in the end, but yeah, a good effort by them.
Good effort by them indeed. So we'll take a look at the other game, and it was Lucindale going down to Penola, and we talked about this. They played right before the finals, and Lucindale got the win at Lucindale, and this time it was Penola getting the home court advantage and winning by 9 goals. And I think, well, what do you think? Do you think that game right before the finals gave Penola a bit of an upper hand because they got to see Lucindale at full strength? They got a chance to scout out what the new look team looked like.
Absolutely, they did, and they obviously had that one player missing in that last minor round. So coming back in last week, they were at full strength Penola and really took it up to Lucindale, and were a force to be reckoned with. And you know, they were 6 goals up at quarter time, which was a fantastic effort. But then Lucindale came back in that second quarter and made it even at half time. However, yeah, Penola was too strong in that second half, and in the end, the shooting percentage is what it came to. So you had Penola shooting at 91% and Lucindale at 58%. So that's just a huge difference, and that's a difference of 15 more shot attempts by Lucindale, but just not converting.
There you go. So that's something for Lucindale to work on as they get into their... Well, now they've got a knockout final against Kybybolite this weekend at Padthaway. So let's talk about that game. How do you see it going? Is it as simple as Lucindale making their shots? How are Kybybolite looking? I mean, I imagine they're very confident after knocking off Border Districts, but do you think they can keep it up against Lucindale?
I definitely think there's a chance. They've met twice this season. Lucindale have won both times, in round 2 by 5, and then they won by 12 in round 11. So they have the upper hand at Kybe at the moment, but Kybe are obviously showing us that they can play good netball, and they did show that for us last week. So I think this will be a fantastic game, and they just need to play a consistent 4 quarters to get over the line. So I think there'll be great matchups all over the court, and I actually wouldn't be surprised if Kybe got up, but I'm just tipping Lucindale in a close one.
Yeah, Lucindale were the sort of form team of the competition over the second half of the year. We sort of had them in the mix with Naracoorte and Kybe all year. And then they sort of shot up. They overtook Border Districts right at the end of the season, and then we lumped them in with that top group. But now, here they stand with one game away from elimination, and they really need to get the win to keep the season alive this weekend. So that's going to be a great game. Really keen to see how that plays out. That one is on the Sunday. And on the Saturday, we've got the qualifying final. So Penola knocked off Lucindale, so they've still got a second chance up their sleeve if they lose this one. Keith, fresh off the week off, and I think they had a bye towards the end of the year as well, didn't they? So they're quite fresh going into this final. How do you see this one playing out? It's at the Mundalla Showgrounds. Keith will be probably going in as favourites, but Penola coming off the back of a really good win as well.
Yeah, absolutely. They've only met the once this season, and that was in round 9, and Penola got up 55-31, so it was actually a huge win by Penola in that game. So I hope we don't see sort of a margin like that this week, and Keith really bring it back. So they are refreshed. They're ready to go. They've had the week off. Don't have far to travel, whereas Penola has a fair way to travel. So I think it'd be great weather, a great spectators game. I'm tipping Penola in a close one, but I think it'll be a fantastic display of netball.
All right, so you're tipping the underdogs, Penola and Kyby. That's interesting.
Oh, I don't mind an underdog, so just looking forward to some great games of netball.
Yes, we love an underdog story, so they're going to be very good games. And what was your takeaway? You were at the games on the weekend. How were the crowds, and also how were the sort of how were the energy levels from the players? Could you see, did anyone look nervous, or were they all pretty much rearing to go for finals?
Oh, I think it was just, they were all fired up, ready to go. It was fantastic. Like at Keith, we played in the stadium at Keith, that's indoors, and that's a really fast game of netball, which is fantastic. And the atmosphere, because it's so loud in there, was just great. And at Penola, again, a huge crowd there, which was great to see, and beautiful weather. So really good finals netball and great conditions to play in.
All right, it's going to be fantastic netball this weekend. So the tips are in for the underdogs. We'll have to see how that goes. You'd know better than I will, so I'll back you in. I'm going to go for the underdogs as well, Kyby and Penola. So Kyby to face Keith next week if our tips are right, but we'll see what happens. It's going to be a very, very exciting round of netball. And are you going out again this weekend, Sally?
Yes, I will both be at Mundalla and I'll be at Padthaway, so really looking forward to it again.
All right, looking forward to getting your take on both of those games this weekend. It's exciting times in the KNT Netball Association, and we can't wait to see who advances into the prelim and who gets a ticket straight through to the grand final as well. Sally, thank you very much for joining us to give us that report. Enjoy the netball, and we'll chat to you next week.
Sounds great. Thank you very much.